All right, grasshoppers. Yes, it is not 2 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock Thursday afternoon. Yes, I'm by myself. Seems to be a pattern. That's the way we're going. Again, we got the show a little bit earlier because I got to get down to the city at the Moynihan train station right across from Madison Square Garden. Got a little get together with some season ticket holders. And then I'll be hanging around for probably the first period of the game, going to the suites. Everything's good. How's everybody doing? I had an update for somebody on something. What was it? Can't remember what it was. Some kind of update, but maybe it's the update that I can't remember what the update was. All right, so the Rangers are looking good. We're getting going to the season here. They got San Jose in town tonight too, right? Lorraine, how are you doing? Good to see you. What was going to update or something I wanted to talk about? Something's going on. Guess it wasn't that. I don't know. Larry Melnick update. What was I thinking about? Oh, man. How could we not update on Larry Melnick? So the pattern now is getting entrenched in steel, cement, whatever it is. So Larry will contact me, say he's going to do the show, and then exactly. For once, you're right again. For once, you're right again. That makes sense, doesn't it? For once, you're right again. For once, you're right again. So it's a pattern. So he'll send me, and again, just communication. I said call. He does not call me. He'll send me an email, no text, just email, saying he's going to be on the show. And then the night before, as late as possible, he'll send me an email saying he can't make the show. So clearly what's happening here is, in my mind, I'd like to hear what your guys' opinion is. He doesn't want anybody else to be on the show and make him not as valuable, right? It's all about him. So he makes it so I don't have any time to get other guests on. I'm thinking that it would just be good to have him and I on the show. And then obviously he doesn't show up. So I think it's pretty clear. I think if you guys disagree, let me know, but I'm pretty clear that's what he's up to. So he wants to make it about Larry without him being on the show. That's what's happening. So, but again, Ira. All right. Rangers looking good, right? Do you think, does everybody think they're looking good? Obviously, Shesterkin is looking good too. How about our Yankees? Jill, how are you? Jill Solomon. There was a guy that was an agent, Jeff Solomon. I don't know if you're related to him or not. Oh, Dave Tamarero, old buddy, what's happening? A little cute little puppy. My son and his wife got a puppy recently. Got a golden retriever. Oh no, I'm talking a yellow lab. Cute little thing too. Oh, yes. So Dave Tamarero is a great guy, good friend of mine, but unfortunately he's an Islanders fan. So he can't. Well, I guess so. Jill, no relation to Jeff Solomon? Okay. There's more than one Solomon family. Okay. He actually he was an agent, successful agent, and then he went to work for the LA Kings. I think he's with Anaheim now. I think they're capologist or whatever. Let me see here. Donaldson needs to sit. I think. Talking about the Yankees there. Again, Susan knows hockey, baseball, football, everything. No, they didn't name the dog Pepper. My son and his wife. They named the dog Maverick. Very cute. You can go on. It's on Instagram. They've got an Instagram sign. I think it's. I'll get it for you. Instagram call sign, something like that. Cute little puppy too. Just loves his grandfather. I think I posted a picture of him recently kissing his grandfather. Cute little thing. Again, it's funny because I keep saying to my son, you got to discipline. But he's so freaking cute that when you're around him, it's hard to. But he's apparently now he's crate trained, so he doesn't cry in the crate any longer, which I think is a big thing. If you go out or whatever, you don't have to worry about him running around the house and chewing everything. So put him in the crate. Should have named the dog Ranger. Could have. Cute, yeah. Really cute little lab. Oh, hold on here. Davis sending notes here. Lab's the best. Just put ours down. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah. That's the thing with dogs, right? They get to be part of the family. And you have to put them down. It's tough. And one of the tougher things is too, it's like you most cases, you have to make the decision to put them down too. And you're doing it usually it's the right thing to do. If the dog's suffering or whatever, you've got to do it. But at least in the humans just die. When it's the dog, you've got to make that decision. It's like, you don't want to let it go, but you got to do the right thing for it. So yes, that is a tough thing with dogs. And the dog update around here is it's getting colder. So there isn't as many dogs outside. So I feel bad about that because, it takes away the excitement. Although they were barking a little bit last night there. I might have raised my voice a little bit, just to get some quiet. How are those Islanders doing anyways? I haven't really checked the standings that much. Islanders still in the NHL? I just wondered with their record the last few years, whether they're in the NHL or they moved down to the American League. Imagine if they had the kind of relegation thing they do with soccer where they teams don't do well. I think they do that with soccer, right? I think they move them down a division. What do we got here? What do we got? NHL. Let's see where those Islanders are. Just compare them to the Rangers. Standings right here. So the Rangers are in a playoff spot. And so the Islanders in a wild card spot. Rangers 3-1-0. Islanders 2-1-0. So who's got the worst record right now? Let's go league wide. See, you push that a little bit in the league, then you go to the bottom list, and you got the San Jose Sharks that are in town tonight to play the Rangers. I believe, yes. They're in town tonight. Minnesota is as bad as they're doing too, right? Wow. I also have a game in hand. Yeah. How was that? Lane Lambert. Let me see. Lane Lambert was a gritty, hard-nosed guy, smaller player, but didn't back down. I mean, he wasn't a heavyweight fighter, but he'd take on it. But I think he fought George McPhee one time too. George was a tough dude. Ooh. Well, here's David here. Where the Islanders have a game in hand. Yeah, right. Yeah. Jill Solomon, she knows her baseball here. I would have to agree. Yankees too relied on the home run. Not enough clutch hitting runners on base. Yes. Who's the guy they brought in? The guy that's got the porn star mustache there. He's had a tough time too, right? Can't remember his name. That would be pretty funny. Do a Valentine's Day show. Yeah, give out advice. 2-time divorced Tom Laidlaw gives dating advice. Yeah. Dating device. Yeah. Tarpenter, that's right. Dave Tamararo said, thank you. I guess his story is a pretty good story, right? They found him. You got it too, Jill. Thank you. Didn't they bring him up? Did he get hurt and then took a year off and really worked on his swing and everything? He's kind of made himself a better player. It's kind of fizzled out now. Okay. I guess I don't rank. Nobody told me that you guys were going out. Sorry, Dougie, that's my fault. I should have made an announcement. We did the show this morning and announced that, you know what? I should have sent a personal message to you. I dropped the ball. There's just no other way of saying it. I dropped the ball. And hopefully it'll never happen again. I feel terrible about it, but you've not seen nothing like the Mighty Quinn. Not quite sure that's what reference to there, Danny. I'm sure you'll fill us in. This is probably me just missing it, right? Let me see here. Let me go back up to Susan. Sharks coming in at 0-5. Did that worry you as players if you played the team on a long losing streak? You know what it was more? It was more word from our end that we weren't preparing ourselves properly. You'd look and say they're 0-5, say, oh, geez, we just got to show up tonight. We'll beat them. And obviously that's not true. They're NHL players, NHL team. But yeah, I mean, and again, it's one of those things that if you go 0-5 in the middle of the season, really, it's not that as big a deal. It seems, well, it makes sense since you go 0-5 at the start of the year. That's all you have to look at, right? So you think, well, geez, this team's terrible. And they may not be terrible, although I don't think San Jose is that good of a team. But that's right, David Quinn. That's right. I'm sorry. Yes, Danny, Susan straightened me out here. David Quinn coming back. That's right. Good guy. I liked him. as a player. I mean, the story is, as a coach, I liked him. The story is that he didn't get along with some of the star players. I don't know if that's kind of one of the rumors that's floating around, but I think he also was a terrible timing, right? To all the stuff that happened with Tom Wilson and then JD and Jeff Gorton getting fired. It's like they just wanted to clean house and start all over again. And my feeling about Gallant, I just think he's one of the best, if not the best coach in the league. Again, his style is different too. I mean, a lot of people don't, they'll look at the good chances that they give up all the time and have to rely on Shesterkin and Hawk, in this case, the goaltender. But that's the way he coaches. That's not a mistake. That's not something he's missing. That's the way he wants to play. He wants to get the most out of the guys. Let them think, okay, just go. You're going to make mistakes. You make mistakes. He did that he had great success for me in Vegas when he did that when he started. Where those, especially the young guys that were in other organizations, maybe weren't doing well. They're just uptight, thinking, God, the other place I was, if I made a mistake, I was going to be up in the press box. And he got them to believe that, listen, if you play hard and you're doing what you think is right for the team, I'm not going to reprimand you. If you make a mistake, that doesn't mean I won't come to you and try to correct that mistake. But you get back on the ice again. And I think that's how he got the most of them. And I think that's what that's what he does here with the Rangers too. Again, the byproduct of that is that you have those creative players that are taking chances like that they give up some opportunities too. But when you got Shesterkin, obviously it's working. So we'll see. Yes, Susan, good point by you. Salary cap is going up $4 million next season. Revenues are at $5.4 billion league wide. And it's interesting because Gary Bettman always gets booed all the time. And if you look, I've said this many times. When he first started 20 some years ago, whatever it was, the revenues were around $750 million, and now to be up at $5.4 billion. Yes, part of that is expansion. There's no question, but so many other things that they've done to help the league grow. The revenue sharing now is better than ever. The salary cap, as much as the players didn't like it, the thing that really hurts them is the escrow. That's what they don't like. But let me see here. David Tomorrow, got to run, bro. Time to make the donuts. Let's break bread. Absolutely, we will. We'll definitely break some bread. So those of you, I think probably most people understand how the salary cap works. So let's round the numbers off. Let's say it's $5 million a year in revenues. They take out some expenses. I think it was like a couple $100 million expenses. And then basically it's just split 50-50 between the players and the owners. Now that's projected revenues going into a particular season. So that's why they have the escrow. So a certain amount of money is collected out of each player's paycheck, anywhere from 10 to 20%. There's no limits on it. And that's based on, okay, we're pretty sure it's going to be, $5 million, but if it's more or less, we need to just have some money set aside in escrow. It's not in the owner's pocket. It's not in the player's pocket to make, so if there's some deficiency either way, then it's corrected to that 50%. Mr. Nonprofit. Yeah, I just did math. Take it. Yeah, that's right, Ira. Let me see. What do we got? Danny Ayerson. I always thought that the Rangers 92 playoff team would have beaten the Islanders, 84 Islanders, by 84. Mike Rogers, Gresham, Dave Maloney were rare spare parts. Don't get me wrong, the Rangers should have won that series in 84. Yeah. Oh God. Well, especially we were up 2-1 playing in the Garden and lost that game to make it 2-2, and then come back and lose in overtime. Man, I've watched that game a couple times. That last game, that was pretty good hockey. I like that a lot. That was, yeah. I've said many times, it's just the Islanders. We felt we had a great team, and actually, Clark Gillies said that when he was on the show with us, that he thought that if we had beat him in that playoff series, we could have gone on and won the cup, which was kind of nice of him to say. But the Islanders, they'd done that for 5 years. They just found a way to win all the time. So, Susan always gets to hope Veronica gets the help he needs. I'm missing that one, Susan. What does he need help with? I missed that story. Susan's on top of things, right? Football, baseball, hockey. I don't think basketball. I don't think Susan is in the basketball, but yeah, that 84 team, that was pretty special. That was a good team. It's just, and again, I think we're very similar to the Islanders. We were a good team, but we had all the right pieces of the puzzle too, right? I don't know what Larry Page was doing. Anything. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of things happening. I mean, I made a mistake on I don't know if I guess I made a mistake on the Mike Bossy goal. That was their second goal, I think it was. So the puck had come to me, and he's right beside me, and I thought, I'm getting rid of it right away. I don't want to be holding the puck. I was right at the blue line. There's nobody behind us. So I tried to knock the puck out of the way, hit him right in the foot, and came back on his skate and would have scored. So part of me thinks, well, yeah, maybe I should have done something different, but I mean, and again, you call it luck, but that's Mike Bossy. So when something like that happened with Sammy, you can't really call it luck because that's the way he was all the time. Him and Rick Middleton were like that. You play against them, and they weren't that great of skaters, and the puck was bouncing all over the place. You think that's lucky, but then they do it hundreds of times over and over. You think, well, that's not lucky. Oh, I didn't see this. He checked into the players' assistant program. Oh, that's too bad. Well, it's too bad that he had to check in, but I'm glad the players' assistance program is there. So that's something that's run by the Players Association and the National Hockey League. It's not limited to, it's primarily for drugs or alcohol abuse, some addiction. And if the player enters into the program voluntarily, he continues to get paid. If he doesn't, if he's caught. And I think there's some steps to it. That if he gets in trouble with something and doesn't get help, then I think it counts as one strike. I think there's like 3 strikes, and then then you have to go. Then you are suspended without pay if you don't get help on your own. So it's a great program. It was started years ago. Oh, got to be 20, 25 years ago. It was great when I had that Sheldon Kenny as a client, and he'd come forward with the sexual abuse issues because I knew nothing about the mental health stuff. Like, I know stuff now. I still don't know everything. I know more, but I knew nothing about mental health or how to deal with those issues. So I was very lucky that they were there. I called them up right away, and they came in and handled it. They were tremendous with them. So, let me see here. Tom, during the Kings Rangers brawl, do you remember where you were? What you were thinking? Don't get killed. Did Kotze try to find out? Kotze gave it to somebody pretty good. Oh, he had some guy. Oh, Jansen, I think, or something like that. He had him up against the boards. Well, Kotze was a tough dude. Really good fighter. So I remember, that was my first year in the league, and you're all full of, you want to show all the guys you're going to fight everybody. So the brawl started, and I had Larry Murphy with me. He was not a fighter at all. And I kept saying to him, let me go or I'm going to kill you. Because I was trying to get in, like everybody was helping everybody else out. And to his credit, he was letting go. And I thought, oh, God, I can't sucker this guy because he just doesn't fight, at all. So I can't sucker him. So, but that was good, bro. That was fun. Oh, man, we hammered him too. That was, that was because we weren't expected to win. And to be honest with you, they had a tough team too. I don't know if we really intimidated them, but I think we just set the tempo that, okay, listen, it's going to be a tough series. So, when appearing on the TV show Survivor, did you use Herb Brooks' psychology? I didn't use anything that Ted Sayer used ever. Herb Brooks, all the way. I did actually talk a lot. He was interviewed, and I used Herb's famous old line, passes come from the heart. So Herb in practice, if, we're having a bad practice and just kind of we're concentrating on our passes, he would stop practice and he would get like intense, like, passes come from the heart, and he'd get another player over the other side and he'd just hammer a pass onto his stick. But I really believe, and Herb was this kind of guy, I really believe that was his lesson about life as well. That if you're going to do something, put your heart into it, get the most out of it. So I talked about that on Survivor, that if you're going to be on Survivor, put the most into it. So, they said that I grabbed Dion at the start. I didn't. Yeah. Yeah. I know you're kind of joking there, but it was Eddie Hosper I grabbed him and started smacking him around. That's what started the brawl. I mean, obviously before that it was Barry, hitting Chartrand, but Eddie knew what he was doing. He knew how to stir the pot. Yeah, he picked their star player. And Dion, to his credit though, he fought back too. Yeah. Do you want to step forward if this? Do you think? Oh, do I think? Well, it's the culture's so changed so much now. Like we talked so much. The drinking was it was encouraged. It was the beer was in the locker room, beer on the plane, beer on the bus. That was the bonding thing. That's good. I know Donnie's gotten help now and really cleaned up his life. I've talked to him. He sounds like a whole different person, like a great, just like he's a happy man. So, again, it's those two cultures, right? I mean, there were so many guys that would be in the program that the way it was back then would be in the program today. It's true. Guys, I mean, I felt like I had it under control, but I was, that's part of who I was somebody gets traded there. Everybody said, go grab Tommy. You go have a beer with him. He'll know where to go. That's how it was. So, let me see here. That brawl listen was classic. Yeah. They set the game back 30 years. He said something like that, right? Is it 30 years? It didn't set the game back at all. Fans loved it. The fans still love it. Yeah. Everywhere when you go to all kinds of events, they always bring up that team that year and that brawl. Yeah. That's the way the hockey was back then. Ranger fans, you see all the Flyers brawls and everything like that, and then winning cups. And yeah, man, I actually think, you know what? We had a fairly young team then too. And I actually think we gave the Islanders way too much respect. We didn't respect LA at all. We went and beat the crap out of them. And pretty much St. Louis, I think we respected them more, but after being through that series with LA, really kind of established who we were as a team and as individuals. And, so I think we were the same way with St. Louis. That was a tough series. The Sutters. I mean, one time we had a brawl in St. Louis and one of the fans reached over and went after somebody. Might have been Eddie Hosper again too. Yeah. Well, Mr. Tom, you did start it though. No, I know people say that I'd love to tell you that I did start it, but I didn't. It was, I guess they thought Eddie and I looked alike, but it was Eddie grabbed Marcel Dion and started wailing on him. But they did say that I was there. I was standing. There's a picture. It looks like I'm crying almost. Like, jeez. Oh man. Yes, Lorraine. Fighting back then was, yeah. Ooh. It was a different league. Listen, these guys are still fantastic athletes today. I don't want to disparage them in it, but it's just altogether different. It's intimidation was part of the strategy of the game. Yeah, it was like for a guy like me coming in, you had to fight. If you knew coming in the NHL, if you didn't fight, you better be Wayne Gretzky. But let me see here. Gord's voice rose several octaves whenever it has going. Yeah, that's true. Oh, Nicky's a good guy. I was with Nicky. It's the last game on the road. I think it was Friday. Yeah, last Friday. Good guy. Nicky's doing fantastic. He's remarried, beautiful lady. We do kid him. He's dressed better now. He looks good. Like he looks younger and everything. Looks like he's really enjoying his life. So good to see. But yeah, the fans. Yeah, he was a favorite. I know I've told this. It was so funny. I think of this all the time. The two things I think about Nicky, well, there's a few, but Herb, especially at the Garden, did not want Nicky, like when he got the puck, let's say at the blue line on the boards, he wanted him to move forward, go in the offensive zone. Nicky couldn't help himself, especially at the Garden, because when Nicky's touched the puck, the crowd would just go nuts. So Nicky would always, I think he'd just lose his mind. He'd forget what Herbie was saying. He'd come back into the defensive zone and loop, get the big loop going, and the feet are kicking out there. And Herbie would be losing his mind. He'd be screaming at him like, Nick, And then, and I know I told the story. I'm almost positive it was Dave Maloney. We're like Nicky. I think Herbie just yelled at Nicky to not do it anymore. And I think he even said to us, I don't know if he actually said the words or not, but kind of was saying like, don't pass up to Nicky anymore. So we get it nice. And Dave's a veteran player by then too. And so I said, Dave, what are we going to do? You're not going to pass to Nicky? He says, no, we're passing to him. Because we all wanted to see the scene. And then the other part was when he would come to the bench. And Herbie wanted us to change like quick, go hard to the bench. Some guys would kind of dog it going to the bench. So Nicky would go 100 miles an hour and he'd spray the snow. And seriously, the snow would go up like 20 feet in the air and all over the place. Here he comes. He's incoming. Oh, man. I know you were, Dougie. I know. I wouldn't mind starting the brawl. That wouldn't bother me at all. But okay, what do we got here? Susan, how do you think you would have done in a shootout? Susan, why? I thought we were friends. I don't know why you would. I had one breakaway in the National Hockey League. I think I came out of the penalty box, had a breakaway. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss the net. So I ultimately hit him right in the chest. Like the goalie didn't have to move at all. I think he looked at me like, what are you doing? Trying to hurt me, like warm me up or something. That's funny stuff. I do remember thinking, oh God, what am I doing here? Right. That's funny. So I don't think I would have done too well in a shootout. Susan. I have to bring that up. My friend and I got Fatio's autograph on a balmy 5-degree night, and it was a tremendous trip for us. Nicky's a good man. I'll tell you, really, Nicky really still does, and that back then understood what he meant to the fans. And really, the throwing the pucks up, the way he played, he was a New York guy. And I think that meant a lot to him, meant a lot to the fans. And like I said, still does too. So he's a good man. Not a very good drinker, but this is a good thing. Nicky could not hold his liquor at all. Oh, man, when we would go to the little pub up in Rye, New York, and you had to duck down to get, under a beam to get to the bar. He'd have a couple beers, and we knew all the time that he was going to forget to duck again, turn around. He'd smack. He'd get that hard head of his, too. That the sound of his head hitting that beam. Oh, Jesus. And we'd always scramble outside the bar because he'd be mad at us. He'd get mad momentarily. But it was funny. Oh, man. Because you're just sitting there waiting. You know what's coming. You think to yourself, you should say something to poor Nicky. Don't want to hit his head. Nah, we're not saying anything. Okay. What is the biggest thing that you miss about not playing today? I don't miss it. I know I may have said differently, but 5 years ago. But this life I have now, True Good Life, I really love my life. I loved my life then. It was fantastic. But I don't look back at everything and say I missed something. It was I had a great time. I was proud of myself. I worked hard, but I just felt like now I feel like I'm a better person inside and out than I've ever been. So I don't look back at any part of my life and say that I miss it. So yeah. Let me see here. If you entered the fastest game. Oh, everybody just picking on Tom today, right? I was a decent skater. Not very fast, but decent. I was efficient. One coach called me efficient one time. Were you at the game and I had the breakaway? Seriously, I think it was Pittsburgh or something. Were you really at that game? That's funny. Uh, uh, yeah, you know what, Susan? It's kind of a source of pride. Like everywhere we go, fans are always saying all the time that hockey players are the best with the fans to deal with, and it is a source of pride. It's part of the culture of the game. And frankly, I just don't understand why all athletes are not that way. I think it's if we don't have fans, we don't get paid. There's no game, right? But yeah, in the hockey world, and nothing's ever said about it too. I think it's more when people like Susan and other fans tell us. I think it's a source of pride, so it's just kind of carried on. I think it's still the same way that if we ever see a player not being nice to fans, the rest of the guys say, like, come on, smart, like sign the autograph properly, and so you can see that my autograph's not perfect either. That's why I think like when Tony DeAngelo was threatening some of the fans to come outside and get in a fight, that's one of the things he's like, we don't do that. It's just it doesn't happen. Met Nicky at an event and fist bumped him. Hands like, yeah, he's got the big mitts. Yeah, we got this thing, him and I, because he works out all the time too. So we have to see now we shake hands with each other. It's like a contest to squeeze our hand as far as possible. You know it's coming. That's funny. Oh, I know. Seriously, the sound of his head hitting that beam. Bunch of idiots, right? We could have helped him, but no. All right, let me see. I was doing the first NHL player to get manicures. Hold on, let me see here. Hold on. Was he the first? He probably was, yeah. I give Doug Dues credit, though. I'll tell you what, he does his own thing. And he did his own thing then. He showed up to play. He was a team player, stick up for his teammates, toughness and all that kind of stuff. So when it came time to come to the rink and do his job, he was a fantastic guy. There's no question about it. But he lived his own life. Away from the rink, he did his own thing. So didn't bother Dukes. If you want to make fun of him for his hair or whatever it was, then we still do. And he's fine. So yeah, he's a good man. I admire him, seriously. I'd like to do something to be proud of. The lack of drinking is something. Yes. Yeah, we were we were that the league back then was I don't know how to describe it. It's a little bit barbaric in a lot of ways, right? Yeah. It was on the ice, it was barbaric. Off the ice, it was barbaric. Yeah. Yes, you're definitely right. So just so you know, again, I never want to blame somebody else for something. I'll explain the situation. So Larry Melnick is trying to sabotage the show quite clearly because he's not on. He what he does is he'll let me know that he's going to be on the show days before the show, and then the night before he'll send me an email, and only an email, and tell me that he's not going to be on the show. Therefore, I don't have time to round up other guests. So again, that's my fault. Not going to trust him anymore. I don't know why. I guess it's just pure jealousy. He does not look good in green. So let me see here. Do hockey players leave the game and then live with chronic pain? There's a lot of injuries. Yeah. It affects a lot of guys get hip replacements, knee replacements. I'm a big believer, obviously, with my lifestyle, that staying active and maintaining your conditioning can fight that stuff off, eating properly. But again, there's other guys that the injuries are just too bad. It does seem like a lot of hips, a lot of knees. But part of it is, since we were like 6 years old, we've always been getting hurt. So you just kind of live with it. So, and some guys, they'll get surgery. I try to stay away from doctors. So, let me see. You had the worst autograph back in the day. Danny, you go from being like my best friend to just picking on me. It's just, I can't take it. It's just awful. My autograph is not good sometimes. Yeah. Let's see here. Doogie was great for yeah. Deputy Doogie was tough. He's a big, strong man. He's just a natural athlete, right? So his famous line to me, Tom, sleep was overrated. You only need 2 hours of sleep every night. That was his big advice to me my rookie year. If the Yankees asked you to throw at first pitch, would you throw a strike? Oh, darn right. I practice. I have to throw a strike. Yeah. I see some of these people that get up there and throw, and it's like they don't even come close to the plate. Come on. You're going to be think you're representing yourself there. You're going to do it right. If anything in life that's worth doing is worth overdoing. Let's go. What do we got here? We all have colleagues in the workplace that aren't our favorites. Did you have any in the NHL? Yeah. You always had players that you just didn't get along with for whatever reason. Most of them, 95% of them, I bet you get along with. There just seem to be some guys that other guys in the team would like and I wouldn't like, or vice versa. And I think everybody's had that. Obviously, I can't name them, but and again, I think the great thing about hockey is I don't think I know for me, and I think pretty much for every player, you never let, even if you didn't like a guy, you never let that get in the way. If there was a brawl on the ice and he was getting beat up, you came to his, even if you didn't like him, it was your job to come and he's your teammate, and that's the way you got to treat him. So, yeah. Do you worry about previous concussions? See, you're clearly missing a few screws. At first, I thought you were actually concerned until I got to the last part. Oh, my God, Ira. But, we've got brain damage. There's no question. Anybody that's played the contact sport, I think the misconception sometimes is that you have to get hit in the head to get brain damage or concussions or whatever. And it's just not true. Your brain floats around like in the skull, and then you go to hit somebody, and it's like that whiplash effect, and your brain's bouncing off the inside of your skull. You get brain damage. So, I mean, I told you this. I was watching Boomer Esiason's show years ago, and he was still with Craig Carton, and they're talking about CTE. And Boomer made the statement, just matter of factly, he says, "Well, oh yeah, I know I've got CTE." And the other guys in the show were like kind of shocked that he said it that way. But I think that's just way you're going to play contact sport. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to avoid it. But I do believe, I'm a real big believer that, if you, again, exercise your brain, exercise your body, the healthy foods. I think the studies show that even intermittent fasting regenerates the cells in your brain, your body. So there's things that you can do to help yourself. I don't know if you ever can. I don't know why. God see his brain. I don't see it. Oh God, Mr. Congeniality. Oh, Lorraine, did you go to this place? Can't believe it. When I was a teacher, we used to go to a club called 21 North in Portchester one Friday night, I guess, we would do his autograph. Barry, Nick, and there also. Well, if Barry, Nick, and Phil were there, Eddie'd be there. 21 North, yes. We've discussed that place on the show here, I think, Lorraine. Maybe you missed those shows. So Gresh was part of that as well. And I never knew this until recently. So we started doing the shows. They were coming up to the establishment from the city, and they'd have a few beverages, and they had to pull off at exit 21 to urinate on the side of the road. So they said, "Oh, what should we call the place?" "Oh, let's call it 21 North." That's how it's got his name. Yeah. There's another defenseman for the Rangers too. Sauer, I think it was. Is Sauer? Same thing. He got hit by Dion Phaneuf, and I don't think hit him in the head, but yeah. Again, I saw a documentary and one of the doctors, because it was centering more on fighters and their problems with concussions. And the doctor got on near the end. I think they got this all timing right. The doctor said, "Yeah, they have problems, but the misconception is that it's all just fighters getting hit in the head. Those are the ones with concussions." He said that's only about 5% of the concussions in professional athletes. No, this is his number. So let me see. Tom, what fans failed to realize back in the day chartering a jet was rare? What was funny to say? Oh, yeah, we didn't take a lot of private. We had some private flights, but usually we were commercial, just sitting in with everybody else. They'd get us all in one section. It was hilarious, actually. You get like 25 guys in suits, and you're walking on, and especially the day after a game or something. We've been out the night before, so a little hungover. You're kind of giddy, you're laughing, like you're acting like little kids. And there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, guys would, God forbid you ever fell asleep on a plane. I never could, because I got so many guys like cutting their tie, putting shaving cream on their head, stealing the shoes. So you put, you'd steal the shoes, the bag, whatever. And the guys would realize they're going to get it back. So they just walk through the airport with no shoes on. And then, you're waiting for your bags to come around the carousel. There's the guy's shoes on we play games like, $10, whose ever bag came out first. So everybody's betting to see whose bag came out first. Guys would get on the carousel at one end, and then they come out on the carousel. They're pretending they're a statue. It was hilarious. I'll tell you, I guess if I really thought about this, the traveling around with the guys was hilarious. Like, we get on the plane. So we obviously flew so much, not just us, but everybody know the routine that the flight attendant would do, putting the seatbelt on, all that kind of stuff. So we'd all get up and start doing it with the attendant. So everybody else in the plane is like, what is going on with these guys? Cronies was a hot spot. Orrin and Retzky's, when I was there, that was the place we'd go to after the games all the time. And then everybody else would go someplace else, but we'd all stop there. That's a good thing about the team stuff. It was kind of a unwritten rule, I should say, that, there's certain requirements that aren't really requirements, but if you want to be a team player, you show up with everybody else. I do remember when Mike Ridley and Kelly Miller got there, and I think they were the first two. Everybody's drinking beer, and they started ordering a couple of glasses of milk, and we were outraged, like seriously mad. Like, what is going on around here? That cannot happen. Let me see. Oh, fake ID, Lorraine. That's awful. I can't believe it. No. I know. Maybe Gresh did. I mean, sometimes the summer guys like Barry would go to Fire Island sometimes, but yeah, didn't very much. That's right. Michael Sauer got hurt. Yeah, remember that? Remember right on the boards. But I think he'd had a couple of concussions before, and then believe that's what it was. And again, it was a hard hit. There's no question, but it didn't look like it was over the bed. But yeah, he never came back from it. And I heard some stories that like for months he had a hard time, like had to sit in a dark room all the time. I was making. I wish you guys had him. Yeah, great guy. Funny guy. The way he looked is exactly the way he was. He kind of like that wild look. Great player though, real competitor. Oh man, like he's a smaller guy, wiry guy, but he competed hard. I think I've got it right too. We were playing a game in Winnipeg, and somehow he got a penalty or something that gets me frustrated. He started. I don't like. It wasn't like he got undressed like the guy in Slapshot, but he started like throwing his stick and gloves and like skating out. He was that kind of guy that he'd lose his mind. He was a great guy though, but he kind of loses his mind sometimes when he was doing that. So, let me see. We were amazed how loud the Garden was during your first playoff game. I think it was the yeah. Oh, unbelievable. The Garden is unbelievable for playoff games. Oh my God. Like now it's the same thing it was back then. It's just the whole feeling too, you know, especially if the team's playing well. And there's this expectation that, okay, like you can feel the excitement in the crowd and everything and they get behind you. So yeah, it's loud. Yeah. A lot of fun. Yeah. I remember, you know, you realize it's loud as a player. I remember going in there years ago. I took my sons to a playoff game and we're up in stands, obviously. And it was there's so much, so loud. And you can feel the floor, you know, shaking underneath you. I remember looking at my sons and like, what is going on? Like, yeah. Let me see. Susan opening night this year. Feel like that. Oh yeah, that's right. I was not opening night. That's right. I didn't go opening night. Yeah, but Garden especially. Yeah, there's a lot of good buildings now, but I mean, there's nothing like the Garden, right? You're in the middle of Manhattan. You're on the 5th floor. All the history that's gone on there in that building. Let me see there, Danny Erickson. Did you go to any concerts, MG? No, I'm not a concert guy at all. I just don't. I don't get it. It's just not my. Like sitting in. I guess because I do things all the time, right? Like sitting and watching somebody else do something. It's like, doesn't really, yeah. Like maybe I would now dancing because I dance now, but like, you know, to go to a concert and stand there and dance. And I was dating a girl one time and she wanted to go to who's the tall guy that's bald head? James something like that. It was went out to Jones Beach. That was a long night. Yeah, I'm not much of a concert guy though. Although I should say I went to a Bruce Springsteen concert once years ago. James Taylor, yes. Who got that? Michael Mason. Nice one. James Taylor. Yeah. Actually, he wasn't bad too. It was a bad relationship. So I don't like him because of her. Didn't end well. Do any of men well? Oh God. Let me see here. James Taylor. When playing a home and away, it's the same team. Back next. Do you ever share a flight? No, never did that. I guess years ago they did on the train, but no, never did. No, that would not be. Although I don't think it'd be a problem, but yeah, when we played against you, we didn't like now the guys they associate with each other a little bit more. We really didn't. You know, even if we knew the guy, yeah, we didn't. We spend much time with him. Do people confuse you with Dan Larry since you both share the same barber? Ira, you know, I'll take the positive side of that, Ira, because you know he's a fantastic dancer, and so am I. So I could see the confusion between the two of us. But, geez, Susan, that is why would you say that? Billy Joel's like an old dumpy old man, like he had like 10 chins or something like that. Oh, Susan, how can you say that? I thought we were closer than that. I had one, actually. Yes, actually, Gresham Carroll set me up with a lovely young lady. Of course, that didn't last. She's actually a very nice girl, too. Yeah. Tempted to say her name publicly, but then I don't know where that would go. Where did I go? Julie Wolf. Julie Wolf. You look her up. She's very successful. Well, so what happened? So isn't that a whole show to like figure out what happens with Tom's relationships? Like why? And it's evolved over the years too. Like, so maybe why relationships ended years ago isn't why relationships would end now, right? I'm a different person. So yeah. It's kind of, that's terrible. Like, but I think some people like you go into it thinking, okay, well, this is nice, but it's not going to end. It's not going to last, right? So that's just not, it's not a healthy way. I'm a different man now. I'm improved. Let me see here. Tom, do you want somebody on this to help you with your Bumble? Oh God, no. Wouldn't that be funny? That'd be funny if you let everybody on the show here put together a Bumble profile. We should do that. See how it goes. Oh God. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Oh, that's a project for us too, right? When we get done the dance challenge, maybe we'll do like a dating challenge, right? Oh, that would be funny. That would be very funny, very entertaining. Maybe like a little, take the drone on the dates and film the dates. Oh, that'd be pretty funny. Ira, sometimes seriously, I do have to give you credit. You do come up with some good ones. And there's a lot of time. I don't know what your batting percentage is. Probably like a good baseball player. Like, yeah, they got a 10, you got 3 good ideas. Yeah. Oh God. So yeah. Jeopardy's tough. I sit there and play that game sometimes and I'm thinking, oh man, not only just getting the answer, but getting it as quickly as they do. Wheel of Fortune, I'd like that. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I was approached a while ago about they've got a bachelor for seniors. First of all, I'm not 65, it had to be 65. I got approached for that. I was like, I don't think so. Not a 65-year-old. Be entertaining, but I think isn't the idea that you're aiming to get married from that show or something? Done that. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Let me see here. Where's this? Bob Johnson. Back in the day at the Eagle in Pittsburgh, when you were flying out after the game, I remember Nikki jumped in the driver's seat and welcome everyone would step on the bus. Nikki is funny. I think, yeah, I can't remember that, but yeah. It would not surprise me whatsoever. Profile said Tom scored 500 goals. You're supposed to be honest on those things, Danny. Honest. Are you supposed to be honest on those dating site things? That's a big thing now, right? Like I talked to a lot of people that get married off those sites, and I always thought that was kind of like, odd, but I guess it's the way things happen now. If the date is bad, you can use the drone as a traction to get out. I see probably the way I fly that thing, I land on her head. Oh yeah. Drone. Okay, so we're gonna do that. So we'll do the dancing challenge, then we're gonna do the dating challenge. Okay, we're gonna work together to come up with a dating profile. Is Bumble the place you go? Is that where you go, Ira? Bumble? Yeah, I wouldn't let Ira do it because he'd spell everything wrong. I'd look like an idiot. Like I couldn't spell. Dating challenge. Oh, that'd be classic. That would be funny. Oh, by the way, so you contact going to say, oh, we're going for a date. No, by the way, there's going to be a film crew with us. Yeah. I spelled correctly. He's turning over. I know he is. Yeah. Turning over a new loaf. Love boat. You got a new love boat. Oh. Danny, it was your wife that doesn't like, that's not that she doesn't like me. She thinks I'm full of myself, right? I think it was your wife. My wife sees you as only single. You only as single. Well, man, do you take that as a compliment or is that a slap? Oh, God. Oh, goodness. So is this, so Ira is saying yes. So that's Ira is on Bumble. I'm going to look up Ira. I'm going to go on there and see what his profile looks like. Can you do a favor, Ira? Go get your profile and post it for us so we can see what it looks like. Your picture, the things you said. Because, do you lie? When you get on those things, do you lie about yourself? To make yourself look better? Because people are going to find out once they meet you, right? Whether it's true or not. So I guess you got to look at it a couple ways. Okay, I'll just fudge the truth a little bit. And then when I meet the person, well, but then you're lying. If you want to establish a relationship, you can't establish a relationship lying, right? me see. No dating during hockey season. Yeah. Okay. Good point. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, hold on. I have a girlfriend. You just can't write girlfriend. It's good. GF. Like I'm so I'm just gonna GF. Girlfriend. Yeah. Did you meet her on there on the site? Huh. Let me see here. After 20 years married, my wife still thinks I'm attractive. Every time I walk past, she says, "What an ass." That's excellent. Oh, very nice. Very nice, Anthony. That's good. That's good. Yes, I'll be dancing. I dance everywhere now. I can't stop. Hold on. I want to film me and my wife shaking her head. I said, okay, let's do that. Let's get that done. Where do you live, Danny? Seriously, that'd be classic. Yeah. Meeting a woman doesn't like me. Meeting a woman thinks I'm full of myself. Seriously, you tell me where you live. Don't tell me the exact address right now because we don't want Ira to know, but just town and all that, and we'll figure it out. What do you think? So what are you going to say to her? Like you're going to surprise her, or are you going to tell her the truth? Let's say, all right, the doctors used to sit in the stands during the game and only come down when needed. Which team had the worst stitch doctor? Oh, I don't know. I know in college where I went up to Marquette, Michigan, the team doctor was a little bit of a drunk. And so if you ever got cut around especially around your eyes after the first period, like, let it bleed. Because, he's stabbed. One time I remember he had a big cut around my eye, and he leans forward. You can smell the booze on his breath, and he's like, "You want me to freeze it?" And I'm thinking, no, I don't want any more needles going near my eye than I have to. So just don't freeze it. Just suck it up. North Babylon is where Danny lives. Okay. All right. So we're going to arrange a meeting with him and his wife and I. So again, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell her the truth and say, listen, we're going to go meet Tom later? Maybe she won't come then. Or do you need to surprise her and say, listen, honey, we're going to dinner or something like that. And then all of a sudden I'm there. All right. We got to figure out those details. Does she watch the show? Yeah, she does. She's okay. Let me see here. I went on to view Ira's profile once the site started asking me my relationship, and I was suggesting as I got out, I didn't want my wife to happen. Mary Shelley's on Bumble, checking out Ira. Oh God, that's funny. Oh, you got a funny crew here. Yes, so Moynihan train station. That's pretty nice in there. You guys been in there? They really fixed that up really nice. I don't know if I was ever in there as a post office, but it's very nice. Very nice. So we got Elizabeth's season ticket holder event there tonight. Well, what's the worst nut injury that you witnessed? I didn't see the nut part. Well, I mean, I didn't see too many nuts. Like we weren't looking at each other's nuts, but I got to hit the hardest. I don't know. It's probably a goaltender somewhere along the road, or maybe a defenseman blocking a shot or something. I really can't remember that. That's a good one. The worst injury I ever saw was Malarchuk there getting hit in the neck with the skate. Ooh. I wasn't even at the game, just watching on TV, but man, that was scary. That's almost one of those ones that's like once you see it, it's like you wish you hadn't seen it, right? All the blood coming out and everything. Imagine being at that game. So, guys, remember back in the 80s, Malarchuk, the goaltender for Buffalo, got hit in the neck with a throat, sliced the carotid artery. Is that what it is? And it was just, I mean, I think everybody, and I probably would have been the same way. Everybody just scattered because you're just in shock. And he was on his hands and knees by himself. Blood, just a pool of blood. I hate to be gross like that, but it was terrible. And I believe a couple of doctors came out of the stands, saved his life. But that was, but again, that was one like, yeah. Let me see here. How did you get your spleen injury while playing against Boston? Stick your head. I'm pretty sure, Barry. I went to hit a guy and he like turned and jumped up, so his butt like hit me right in the abdomen. But I'm told by people that that your spleen usually is protected, but there's somehow if you get pneumonia or something, or mono or whatever it is, that your spleen drops down. There's something like that. And I again, it wasn't that overly painful or anything. And I believe that's when it happened. It just got worse and worse. Obviously now I'm starting to bleed internally, so it's just you're just suffocating yourself internally. And again, we didn't know what it was, and to know it wasn't the trainer's fault. None of us have ever heard of a spleen injury before, so didn't know really what it was. It was more like I had the flu. That's how I felt. And so he's putting heat packs on in between periods, first, second period. And by the time the second period ended, I could barely move. And I didn't ever want to get a trainer's table, but I was on the trainer's table, and Ravi Vittori came in and said, what is wrong with you? So he went and got a team doctor, and then they realized what it was. So, yeah. Carpenter's injury too last week, got a nasty cut in his ear. Yeah, that was nasty to watch. So I think he fell on the skate, or the skate came up to him. Yeah, that was, the Malarchuk thing, man. Well, you think about it, there's a few, like for me, the doctor told me it was an afternoon game. He told me if I'd gotten on the plane, I would have bled to death internally. And in midair, same thing like Malarchuk, same thing. God forbid if those doctors weren't there, because how many of us would know what to do in that situation, right? To how to block there. Maybe people do, and maybe we should more, but it's just one of those things that, like with my injury, it's happened since then. Forsberg ruptured his spleen, some other players have, but I don't think anybody had ever heard of a ruptured spleen before. So it wasn't like, to the trainer's credit, he didn't know either. So, I remember Robbie would got to the doctors, and the doctors came over, and I guess there's a nerve that comes up your stomach, and it gives you a sharp pain in your shoulder, like you're getting stabbed. So the doctor asked me that, and I said, "Yeah, but it's not my shoulder, doc; it's my stomach." And as soon as I said that, he said, "Oh, we gotta get the stretcher for you." I go, "No, I'm walking out of here." Stupid. Let's see. I remember head hit Madonna, that elbow. Woo! Yeah, they dropped him. That was terrible. They had him strapped into the board, and they went to get him into the ambulance, and they dropped him sideways. That was funny to watch. Oh, Tracy Marie, listen now. You should be just saying like, "Oh, thank God, Tom, you're here," instead of worrying about who's not here. Okay. I'm disappointed in you. Very disappointed. Well, Mel is again. He's done. It's over. His reign of terror is over. He's done this over and over now in the last few weeks, where he says he's coming on the show, and then the night before he'll contact me and just say he's not coming on. So it was total classic. Did he stay with me? I can't remember that. I was out of it at that point. Yeah. It was kind of funny because the guys laughed about it after, because there's Tom going and get an organ removed out of his body. Everybody just gets on the plane, leaves. That's I would have been the same way too. I mean, got to get going, got a game the next day. So, that's funny. He certainly he's written about it in his book, so it's not a secret. I think it's in his book. At least he's made it public, where he did try to commit suicide. So I don't know if it's PTSD or whatever. It certainly would surprise me. That was obviously it's a life or death experience. You're not stretching the truth on that. He could have easily lost his life there too. Was it Uwe Krupp? Was he there when? Is that who hit him? Oh well, I didn't know that. Empathy for who? Mel? What? Why would we have empathy for Mel? Well, I guess he's been through a lot, but okay, yeah, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I should cool my jets a little bit here. Put on waivers. I just don't think anybody's going to pick him up, though, right? With that mood, right? I just don't know. But yeah, he certainly. I guess you know what? In honesty, he has been through a lot. Yeah. Modano. Okay, I don't know what you're. Oh, okay. Barry, thank you for bringing this up. So, as you know, I took the drone out must have been like about 10 days ago, took the drone out to the beach, and of course did not read the instruction manual, and got it in the air and realized I did not know what I was doing flying it. It started heading towards the water, and I realized there's this button. It's a takeoff and landing button. So I was able to push the button and landed. Kind of a little bit of a crash land in the sand, but not a big deal. So it was fine. So I realized actually, Rich Gabberty mentioned, Tom, maybe you should go out in the field someplace. And I said, okay, I'm going to do that. So I read the instruction manual. I went out in a baseball field and flying it. Now, it's a smaller one, and the front of the drone doesn't look a whole lot different than the back of the drone. So part of the issue is when you're flying it, obviously, if you have the joysticks and you want it to move left or move right, you need to know are you going forward or backwards. And so at one point I kind of lost, I got away from me, so I couldn't really tell I was going forward or backwards. So I crashed into a linked fence, the one that had baseball fields. I crashed into it, but it was fine. It's got the collapsible arms and everything, so I think it's prepared for somebody like me to fly it. So I was able to move it around a little better, get more comfortable with it. So yeah. Let me see. Let me see here. Let's see here. Susan, book update. Yeah, I know. I've got it. I reached out to the author, the writer. He did not get back to me, and I've been running around. The problem is it's now kind of pushed back so that we got to get on the front of the table again. So thank you for reminding me. I've got to get on that. Yes, we want it done for the holidays. It's pretty much done, and it's really not that hard. Once you get it on Amazon, you self-publish. So it's Tom flew drone over Summit Heights apartment and filmed the coconuts. Jesus, Danny, what? Seriously, you're getting drawn into this thing with Ira. Oh man, I date a woman once who the front and back legs. Jesus, Ira. Oh, that's not. Oh man. Oh, stop. Pretty funny though. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. Oh yes, the book has to get done, Susan. You're right. It's just again, it's one of those things that you can run around doing a whole bunch of other stuff. It's almost done. We just gotta. Yeah. Let me see. Stocking stuffer times with stuff in his pants for years. Naturally, Danny. Naturally. Woo! You see, Kim Weeks has gotten remarried recently, and he's got pictures up where him and his wife are expecting now. Beautiful young lady. So very happy for him. Weeks is a good guy. I like him. I like what he's done with his career. You know, he's a backup goaltender. All of a sudden, he's become one of the best, if not the best, panelists, analysts, or whatever. He does all this kinds of stuff. Got a great personality. Very well tied in with everybody in the NHL. Knows what's going on. So happy for him all around, personally and professionally. You know, it's actually a very good point because that's part of the issue with the book is that they continue to do more stuff. Like now we're going to Guatemala next month. You know, we want to keep that, you know, have a chapter in that. But then at some point you got to say, okay, we need to shut it off here and get the book done. Especially like Susan said, the Christmas coming up. So I guess you couldn't tell if she was coming or going. Nice, Jill. Nice. You like for the same from the front of the back. Excellent, Jill. Way to jump in there. Well done. Ira dates Siamese twins. Oh, Barry. You guys are a funny crew today. Very funny. Who we got here? Mike D. Next time he's on, ask Larry if he has any Andy Ritchie stories from his junior days. Honestly, I think we may have to discuss just never having Larry on again. We can't just have him decide like the night before that he's not going to be on the show. It's just, I don't think it's fair to anybody, but that's me. See, everyone who ever played hockey seems to be on the NHL Network. Have you ever been asked? No, I have not. Thanks for rubbing that in, Susan, and pointing that out that everybody else is on the show and I'm not. And, you know, I have my own shows all the time. We don't need them. Susan's like, Susan, I think, does she know that's a little bit of a dig? Like saying everybody else is on Tom, why you're not? Like, she's probably get that tone when she's writing it too. Like, yeah. Susan, Siamese twins would be 3 meals, it's not a buzzing. As of right now, I mean, you know, I'd be talked into it, but I just feel like, you know, let's be honest. I gave him his start in the world, right? I brought him on the show. I, you know, gave him an opportunity to really show who he was, his personality, and it's like he's doesn't even care. Okay, Tracy, you have recovered. Thank you very much. Exactly. We have our own shows. We don't need the NHL. Those guys are fine there. Let them do their thing. Let me see here. So let me see. Maybe it's not Larry, but his wife. Hope you didn't make it. Oh, could be. I've always been very complimentary towards Rochelle. So Tom's like, oh my God. That is just, I know you're joking, so I can handle it. I know you're just having fun. Hey, Melon Survivor. Yeah. See, that would be pretty funny because his lack of patience, like you have to, not that I have the most patience, but I worked on my patience when you're out there. You have to have a lot of patience when you're out there. These people are just trying to drive you nuts. What do we got going here? Murray Graham, what do you got? I can't understand Yankee fans. When they're winning, everything is great, but when these are not, they boo out the field. They're fan. Well, I hear you, but it's part of being a fan, right? I mean, I think the thing is they're so into the team. It's not. I learned this with Ranger fans. Ranger fans, if they're ever getting on you at the Garden, it's not that they don't love you. They do love you. They want the team to win, so they're getting on you to do better. So, but how about getting woke up one day and talking about your days? Yes, there's a good idea. Mike Harris played with us at Northern Michigan University. Mike, how are you? Good to see you again. Michigan man. That'd be great to have. Walt is a great personality, great life story too. Transferred from Boston College to come play with his Northern there. And after his playing career was done, had to go through cancer treatments and continue to work. People were looking at him like he'd get on planes and flying away. He's doing all the chemo and stuff. So very well respected guy. Coached in junior hockey in the National Hockey League. Great guy, good friend of mine. Taught me a lot. Like very at an important time in my life too, where I really thought I was working as hard as I could. Like Walt was like that Vince Lombardi kind of guy. So when I thought I was working as hard as I could, he came along and pushed it to a whole different level. I probably, in all fairness, he's one of those people in my past where it would have been harder for me to play in the NHL if I had not had him in my life. He really was. Yeah, we had some good times together. So I'm going to see him. I got to contact him, make sure we get together. So I'll see him on the 6th and 7th when I'm up there in Marquette. So, see, much better show here. More personal with Tom's fan. I do like this a lot. I think you guys I get to know what you guys want to hear. We talk about some old stories. Yeah. Let me see. Tom makes wives mad. I don't know if that's a wrong statement or not. So, let me see here. I think I should spell check your book. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Get that done. Yeah, absolutely not. Yes, Walt was assistant coach of the Rangers. Yep. He was living up in Connecticut, actually. He's up in Row 8, and I can't remember where he was, or Darien or something. You mentioned Marquette. You mentioned Marquette University. No, Marquette, Michigan, where Northern Michigan University is. Two different places. So Marquette University is in Wisconsin, I believe. And Tom makes hockey mom squeal. Jesus. I owe my life to Ira. Yeah, sure. Okay. Kathy, how are you doing? Okay, here we go. See, now Tracy's back on the good books here. Can you do a show with what clothing you're packing for your trip plans and events and go? That'd be a good idea. Yeah, definitely. Okay. The Guatemalan preparation trip. Sure. Let me see here. How are we accepting these as opposed to the junior leagues? Well, I played college hockey. I played junior B, then college, and then the NHL. Pretty much all. I mean, the NHL, it's a different thing, right? Because it's everybody's dream to get to the NHL. But, obviously you go through training camp, and if you've played well enough to still be there with the team, yeah. I mean, I was big enough and strong enough, and I fought enough to show people that I was, tough enough. But I mean, I clearly realized I wasn't going to be like, the Clark Gillies kind of guy every night fighting all that stuff, Eddie Hosbar, everything. So, and then I guess I proved myself that I was a good enough player that people respected. They said, okay, he's shown that he can fight. He's not fighting all the time. He's not picking on other people. He's not playing cheap hockey or anything. And he's a good hockey player. So it seemed, yeah, I don't really know if you think about it that much. It's just especially early in your career, your first year, you're just, especially early, you're just trying to survive, right? And play. So that was good though. That was a great time starting off. And they always had a section with the Rangers Yearly Fast Show. I was in the Fast Show all the time. Mary, you and Susan picking on me today. Yes, I was in we all had to be in the Fast Show. I think it was for some charity or something too. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sorry, Kathy. I started at 1:00 today. I have to go down to the city. So I apologize that I started early. But I take a couple more questions, then I have to get going. Game 3 of 19, when you beat the Flyers 9-3, the Smurfs was Goose. The Goons got in and started punching down. Yeah, I remember that. I saw that. Glennie was unbelievable. Yeah, he'd take on anybody, Glennie. He just was a great team guy. Anybody was going to do anything to his teammates. Yeah. There's the one famous one too when George McPhee gave it to Rick Tocchet pretty good. And Glenny's on the bench there, whooping it up and cheering, waving his arms around the whole bit. Paul Holmgren and Mike Keenan looking down at him like, you idiot. But he was good. He didn't care. He was great. Seriously, the team to him was everything. He made sure everybody knew it too. So, all right. Again, everyone, I apologize. We started early. Again, I got to go down to the city today, get down to Moynihan train station right by the garden here. We're there from 5 to 6:30 for a little, I guess they're calling it a happy hour. I think it's just season ticket holders, but I think it's a big enough place where I don't know how they've got it all set up. If anybody can just show up or not, but that's where we'll be. Let me see here. Tracy's prettier than you. So she should be the new host. Okay, Tracy, you're going to be the new host because you are prettier than me. Okay. All right, everybody. Listen, great to see you again. I apologize. We had to start early. We'll be at 2:00 next week. So everybody have a great weekend and stay safe.